Last weekend in Singapore, we had Stamp Fairtex and Rodtang both fighting huge MMA fights, and I'm their coach, DJ Jackson. They both fought extraordinarily well, considering Rodtang, for one, was fighting who I consider the best mixed martial artist of all time. Demetrious Johnson is incredibly gifted, incredibly fast, incredibly smart. He has no holes in his game. And it was an interesting fight because the first round was Muay Thai, and then the second round was MMA, so we had a chance to win, and it bounces back and forth. So the third round is Muay Thai, and the fourth round is MMA again. But we ended up getting choked in the second round. Just more work to do. It's impossible to train for someone of Demetrious Johnson's caliber in that amount of time. But Rodtang's super hungry and super excited to get back out there and fight more MMA when he can. And also, Stamp Fairtex came so close to becoming the MMA champion of the world. And she learned a valuable lesson. She learned we have to get better at putting away our opponents, because when our opponent has as much heart as Angela Lee does, they're not going to give anything to you. So even if you land a good shot and the fight's yours, man, those people are going to keep fighting. They're going to keep digging. So we're going to have to do the same thing. So she learned a valuable lesson. We talked a lot about it, and I think she's going to be much improved after this loss. But much improved, but also very, very hungry. The game plan for Rodtang was knock him out before the second round. But also, you can't ever try to knock out somebody in an MMA fight, because it's not a given. So the game plan was to, if we get him out in the first round, to get him out of there, but to land body shots and leg kicks to slow him down. We obviously didn't slow him down much, because that guy is really fast. And then the Stamp, the game plan was to keep Angela in front of us and keep her off our back, because once she gets on the back, she has great submissions from everywhere. So the game plan was to keep her in front of us, not back ourselves up against the fence, but stay on our feet, move our feet, work our striking, but use a little bit more footwork. So even though the fight she fought amazing, she lost, but we got a lot to work on after that fight. Man, Stamp's submission defenses, I'm super proud that she was able to defend those submissions, and she has that much heart. And also, we should never be in those positions, because if you give someone like Angela Lee that many times to finish you, they will finish you. We have to avoid those positions, stay on our feet, keep people off our back, and that's what we are going to focus on with fights going. The cage, we have to use to stay on our feet versus somebody against Angela Lee. The cage is going to be our best friend, because if she goes to take us down, we put our back to the fence, and then they can't take our back. As long as our back's on the fence, they're not on our back. And then we use the cage is the octagon, we just circle. Or what do you want to see? Octagon, hexagon, something like that. But it's still about a circle. So just back to the fence and circle your way out. But keep your back to the fence and keep moving your feet. You can't stay there, because then the person will trip your legs and take your legs from out under you. But if your back is to the fence, you're circling, you'll be able to escape. Yes, I do think Stamp can win in the rematch. I think she can win by body shot, and tomorrow, or today, if they were to fight today. But it was a great fight. She landed the shot she was looking for. She just wasn't able to capitalize. So a loss like that definitely hurts, but it's still a loss, and we have to take everything that we can from it to make ourselves better fighters. But it doesn't take away from the fact that she's one of the most incredible strikers on the planet. Rodtang plans on staying here and training with us from now on, so whether he's fighting Muay Thai or fighting MMA, he'll be with us so that he can always train jiu-jitsu and constantly work on his jiu-jitsu and actually transition into MMA in the future. And Stamp, just rest her body, and then get back in there and fight whoever Chatri has up for us, either at Siho Ham or a rematch with Angela Lee. But I assume they probably will do Siho Ham, and that's a great fight for Stamp as well. I've been getting a lot of questions about this, but just so you guys and everyone else knows, the borders of Thailand are now open. There's no more 14-day quarantine. It's safe to come and train. You guys can come to Thailand and enjoy the most beautiful country in the world, train Muay Thai with the best Muay Thai instructors in the world, and then train Jiu-Jitsu with me at Fairtex.
Subscribe and share.